Hello YouTube, back in again with another rant video. This is gonna be unique from all the other rant videos. So what I mean, because normally what I usually do is react to certain situations that are going on with people who instigate fights, or if there's any exposure, and then people having to go through that experience, and then they try to give a response, but then you realize they let down. But since I'm talking too much, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. So I'm gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be different. This is gonna be about my thoughts, whether the Boondocks series will continue with the season 5, and that if whether it'll air on the internet or on television. The good news is that Aaron McGruder is back. Because let's be honest, season 4 was a complete downfall. It was a complete disaster. Reason being because they tried to replace Aaron McGruder, even though he was pretty much the best actor. I'm not too sure why, but the person who took over clearly didn't know what they're doing. They had no idea how to run the Boondocks. They had no concept of how the show works. And then besides, not only that, they didn't understand the meaning of what made the show very interesting, what made the show very entertaining. Because I can say this, what made the show amazing was that it was very satirical. It referenced a lot of anime, like certain anime or certain scenarios with different black people or with black history. No, although the show was very serious, it had some violence, but at the same time, it came with it also added along with the comedy. It came along with it came with comedy as well and funny ass moments. And the characters were very interesting. The actors suited the characters very well. They blended in with the characters extremely well. I felt like I feel like this is actually it felt like they were definitely very suitable with the voices they already had with the actors that were doing the characters, that were pretty much like posing as the characters, like doing the voices and voice acting. So I feel like personally, this is just because it's gonna relate to what I was just talking about right now. So I feel like the reason why in my personally, I feel like it's not gonna air, even though they confirmed it like last year, like around back in March 21st, 2020, if I recall. Yes, that was the day they were talking about that they were going to work, like continue and progress with season 5, along with Aaron Magruder. But now that I think about it, I feel like they decide they're not going to continue with the show because it wouldn't be the same without John Witherspoon. From what I'm pretty sure we guys understand, he pretty much died from natural causes. I'm guessing from possibly heart failure or some sort of illness. I don't want to look too deep into that because I'm pretty sure obviously you can do the research. So, and who knows, season 5 with Aaron McGruder back, I'm pretty sure since he's the original director, the show would have been able to go would be able to go back on track. What I mean back on track is that it would have been doing a lot better compared to season 4 since it was somebody else doing it. It was somebody else directing the movie. I mean directing the show. Like to be honest, I was not impressed with season 4. Like it was just the thing is, yes, the even though the last 3 seasons were very extra, but it was really funny because it blended in very well with the action, with the anger, the emotions, and they knew how he knew that with the references and stuff that it pretty much suited the show very well. Like kind of like how when, for example, I'm gonna go off topic here. Like for example, when I created the Black Saint archetype, it's funny because it's a reference of Dragon Ball Z and black people who are in particular supposed to be like saints. They're like the black versions of the saints from Dragon Ball Z. But it's funny because the archetype blends in very well because of the text, the images, how their archetype support, how they even adapt in the actual Yu-Gi-Oh game. And it's funny because um Dragon Ball Z is very similar to Yu-Gi-Oh because of the fact that they were made by Shonen Jump and that they were part of the same manga series. Not like what I don't mean like manga series like in one, like in the same like comic strip. I'm talking about when I mean the same manga is like they when you read Shonen Jump is that usually they include Dragon Ball Z, they include Yu-Gi-Oh, anything like related to Shonen Jump that they illustrated. But honestly, like even if they were to do season 5, I understand John Witherspoon's son was willing to do the role to to replace his father in order to do the voice of Robert Freeman. He maybe had the voice, but I understand. But in particular, I didn't entirely get to hear his voice. They didn't really like then obviously they're not going to show you, but we didn't. He said he was willing to do the role, but I'm trying to figure how would he actually be able to catch that tone. How were you able to capture that same voice that John Witherspoon had for Robert Freeman when he was doing the role? We have to find out, but like, and then when I saw the new anime, people were showing me animations of like what possibly Boondocks season 5 would look like. I don't know if that's how it's gonna look. It looked okay. It looked 3D. It was a 3D version, but I would to be honest, I would stick with the current animation because not just because not, I'm not trying to be selfish. I'm not thinking about me because that's what I'm most familiar with, and it looks great with how considering that the quality there's nothing really to hate about it. Like because that's something that not only the fans are familiar with, it just simply catches the energy of the crowd. Like they enjoyed the way it currently looks. There was no issue. Yeah, there are times like that where anime needs to eventually get better. They need to improve the quality animation, but making it 3D doesn't mean it's entirely improving the quality. It just makes it look completely different. You can just make it like in order to actually improve the quality or make it more high quality, is just simply make the animation look brighter, design them where they actually look that where they can actually compare to this generation, like somewhere like 2018, 19, if they had that kind of design, that kind of quality, then you can say it looks terrific. Or you can look at it this way, like with the picture right now in front of you. You could say if it had like if the animation was similar to My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer. I don't know, but like that, I'm pretty sure with Demon Slayer, they're gonna have to put in a lot of work and effort. So, but again, I really honestly can. People are saying, "Oh, there's gonna be season 5." I honestly doubt it. Now I think about it, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to disappoint viewers. I'm not trying to disappoint people who enjoy watching Boondocks. I'm not saying that it shouldn't exist, but it just feels a little too late now. Like it just takes the end, especially with the complaints with John Witherspoon not being there doing Robert Freeman. People are saying he could be replaced for his with his grandmother. I mean his sister. I don't mean his grandmother. I mean literally his sister. But because I think like well I think and these are rumors too. I don't know if this is true, but people are saying that like he basically is gonna if they were if John Witherspoon wasn't able to do the role of Robert Freeman, most likely it would be his sister that would take his place, because the whole purpose is to have somebody look after Riley and Huey since they're like young kids, and it doesn't make sense to be by themselves, and then it wouldn't sound fitting if Robert Freeman didn't have John Witherspoon's voice. And I feel that's the reason why they don't want to continue because it just wouldn't feel the same without him. But besides that, I want to give my opinion how much I enjoy the show. So besides me explaining like whether the show will be cancelled, I'll be honest. Like, I feel my favorite character. This might sound weird. I'll be honest. Has to be a pimp named Slickback. Even though he's an abuser, he's kind of misogynistic. He prefers to be called my name. My name is a pimp named Slickback. And then you have Stink Meaner. Honestly, I say he's the second funniest. Honestly, the reason why I like a pimp named Slickback more is because the voice, like Cat Williams, because the character who does, I mean the actor who does the character for a Pimp Named Slickback is Cat Williams. So it's funny because the voice suits him very well. He's not only is he really, although he's an antagonist, I don't know whether saying antagonist, he is a corrupt man in a purple suit, but at the same time, he not only does he capture, it makes him sound really cruel and really funny at the same time because he believes that women act like objects and they should be treated as such. They're always running to men, and there are times that they're willing to cheat and betray you, and you gotta put them in their place. With Stink Meaner is that like he's more of a growing antagonist. Like he starts off really weak, like just simply a blind old man who's just miserable, and he tries to make everybody else's life a living hell, and he becomes part of hell after Robert Freeman accidentally took his life, and then eventually he grows stronger, and then you find out that he was part of the Hatocracy gang, and that he is influenced with a lot of hatred, and that he is full of self-hate, and that he tries to put a lot of anguish amongst others to satisfy himself, and then along the way he becomes very powerful. Like he becomes a vengeful spirit. He eventually learns karate. He becomes like I don't know how else to describe him. He becomes a master of martial arts now all of a sudden, and he's able to possess people because I already mentioned he's a vengeful spirit. Uncle Ruckus, like he's the third funniest, even though I didn't mention him earlier, but the reason why I find Uncle Ruckus really funny is that, in my opinion, like the reason why he's really funny is that, like, although he's full of self-hate, and normally if you act like that in public, you get whooped by your own community. And it's funny because although it's like you get tired of just hearing this man's voice, you get tired of him insulting his own race, but at the same time you can't help but laugh every time he talks because he's very like goofy. He's very goofy. He's very sarcastic. He comes with tons of random insults, and then it's just like everything opposed to black people are concerned. And he believes that he has the same like disease as Michael Jackson, that he has vitiligo, while Michael Jackson has vitiligo, because vitiligo basically means where a black person's skin tone goes from black to white, while with vitiligo you go from white to being black. And that's where I found very that's where I found really that's why I really found the humor in this guy, is because he comes up with this excuse claiming that he's white, but he was simply brainwashed into thinking that he truly is that kind of person, and that he belongs with the white community, and that he'll be accepted. But in reality, they think he's completely delusional, but like he'll do whatever he can to satisfy white people in order to gain their trust and prove that he's part of their race. But at the same time, even he was even willing to be a cop. I think it was like he was willing even to forfeit a settlement. I think it was a 7 settlement. I'm not even too sure how much. Like because he was being abused by cops, he was even willing to forfeit and give that up so he can be a cop and to be able to abuse black people. So he can feel superior towards his own race, even though he believes that he is a white person in his mind, even though on the outside he's not. And I feel like and besides like funny, I just also want to talk about who happens to be the strongest character in this group, and it has to be Bushido Brown. Because you can tell he has the All Might outfit. The reason I think he's obviously the reason I honestly know he's very strong, even though I'm not going to give spoilers, that like he doesn't need weapons. He's the one of the, even it's been confirmed that he's the greatest kung fu black karate master that ever lived in this see. Not only that, like he's very agile. He's very serious. But then he expects, even though like there are people that hire, he's mainly hired as a bodyguard, and people expect so much from him. But in return, he wants several favors. You have to be able to. It's only how much you're willing to offer in order for him to be able to be of service, for him to be loyal towards you. His loyalty is very, very difficult. It is very difficult to make him loyal to you because he's gonna want you to do him favors, like to the point where like now you may end up bankrupt, or that you may even think that this that like you don't know what this man's thinking. Like this man is just unpredictable. What he wants. Of course, he's human, but it's like it gets to the point like, is it even really worth having Bushido Brown as a bodyguard? Is it worth having him around, being there to protect you 24/7? But for the right money, but he is worth. But he is definitely right about one thing, is that he is definitely worth the money. He's definitely worth the money because like he's proven that he doesn't need any allies. He's strong on his own, and he's willing to do the job right, and he's willing to get it done. Though, but there are rumors because even though Huey is still young, he's still a kid. But I feel like down the line, once he, because considering his like his intelligence, like the amount of like knowledge that he's for at a young age, like how much like research that he does, the amount of intense like the analysis, like studying on martial art, like his studying in martial arts, his education, like also about his knowledge of history, and comparing it into like modern life right now is just outstanding. And he knows that like that's supposed to be his development, his growth. That down the line he's going to be a major threat in the series. Like when he gets older, if he continues to can be consistent with what he's doing right now, that is important to him, and he wants to learn the fundamentals of being a revolutionist, whether it's being smart, being strong, and also doing on top of gaining access to certain like weaponry, like like the dark that's being hidden behind closed doors, and also like the truth, and that he's trying to help uplift the community and do what's right, and be a role model and influencer for his own community and for his own good, and be able to stick with this path and then be onto the right path of being someone better and developing and becoming stronger and being someone who is respected, well respected. I feel like he can succeed easily because he's showing that like potential. And I feel like if they were to continue with season 5, it should also show them growing up. Maybe near the end of the season, how and Riley have progressed, and now they're not kids anymore, and that they're living their own lives, and he may possibly end up, whether it's with Jasmine or another girl. But at the same time, it would definitely, I feel like what would make up for season 5 is like, I think near the end of the season, it should, or like in the final episode, it should show all of like the young kids in the show, the main important kids, growing up in the type of life that they're living. And I feel like that would be a great tribute and a great ending to the series. And that means that not only will we be able to conclude for the series, that it gives us ideas on how they might develop. And then if they were to do another season of Boondocks, it could be a new series of the Boondocks with a different name. It could be like the Boondocks Revolution, or Boondocks The Ballad of Huey and Riley. Then that would definitely be a great contribution if they decide to go and find a new route for the next upcoming season after season 5 of Boondocks, and how they will contribute. And then it will talk about or relate to, and we will be able to witness what they're able to live for as adults, and see how in their adolescent stage what they might possibly encounter in their lives, and what might they possibly be dealing with, whether it is like the problem within their background, or if they're dealing with a more serious threat that compared to stick meaner, or they have to be able to figure out their lives even at that age as adults, but then on the top of that be able to develop and show that their lives are meaningful and that they'll be able to get more screen time and eventually have not only have satire but more action. Like I feel like if they were again, if I feel like if they were to do another season after season 5 with them grown up, it would probably include more action. It would have like an anime feel to it, and what I think would make it great is that for like almost every new episode, not every new episode, every 2 or 3 episodes, they have like a new villain, a new enemy that they have to like confront, who might possibly be a problem for the family or for Woodcrest, and then they have to be able to reflect on themselves, who they're fighting for, and what is their purpose in life, and that they'll be able to realize that not everything is about them, but it's to also help the people that are close, and they also want to stick with their specialties, they want to stick with their methods, they want to stick with their happiness, but then they have to also be able to find ways to help their community as well, and figure like whether the black community will be terrorist, and also and then make them realize that not only do black people need saving, that it's also the rest of the community needs saving as well, and they figure and then they find their purpose in life, and they'll help them move forward and become better people, and then they'll have and their character development would be a lot stronger and it would be more meaningful. And I'll be honest, again, I was being very long-winded, but again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.